Hi, my name's Bo and I live an alcohol-free lifestyle, and welcome to the Beautiful Savage channel, where together we discover how to put the world in front of us and alcohol behind us. The topic of today's discussion is we systematically work on ourselves daily, expanding on the third element of the Beautiful Savage method. Thank you for joining in today. If you're new to the channel, I have been recapping and taking a deeper dive into the Beautiful Savage method, which is the methodology that I have created to become successful in my desire and my effort to become an alcohol-free individual. And my hope with this channel is that the systems and models that I have used to successfully become alcohol-free, you might be able to apply to yourself and become alcohol-free as well. So over the course of the last 4 episodes, I've discussed the Beautiful Savage method and its methodology in its entirety and as a whole. There's a video on that. And then on the 3 other elements, there are 4 elements total. I've done a video covering each different element and taking a deeper dive and a deeper look on how those elements work on their own, and then how they couple together and interact with each other so that we can use them as a framework and a blueprint to apply to ourselves and become alcohol-free, and to live each day with the world in front of us and alcohol behind us. So this is such an important episode because this is where we use the systems and models and put them to work to stay on our road, to stay on our path, and to stay on our trajectory to becoming an alcohol-free individual, and also how we use these systems and models each and every day to remain alcohol-free. So first things first, I'm going to ask you to do a short little exercise with me. Okay, let's do this really quickly. Okay, let's sit up straight and tall. Now lift your shoulders up a little bit, roll them back, and then just drop your shoulders down. Now take your tongue and release it from the roof of your mouth. Unclench your jaw. Now take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, let all your stress go. Okay, now let's begin. Okay, really and truly, that was just a short and quick little exercise, but doesn't it make you feel better? And that's just a quick example that if we have little locked and loaded systems and models that we use, some of them are big parts of our framework that we live by, that we can focus on every day, just kind of like the 4 elements of the Beautiful Savage method. But part of our systematic daily routine and improvement should also be some little small exercises and methods and systems and models that we use and we develop on our own every day to fight stress, to fight cravings, to fight worry, to fight anxiety, to fight depression, and the things that we have that go on in our life. We live in a very dynamic world with so many things going on at all times, and it's so important that we can methodically navigate the things that come up in our life, and that we can respond to those things appropriately, because really we can't control anything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond to the things around us. So that's what this element is about today. It's also about how we can use systems and models as our framework to create the blueprint that we live by, and that becomes part of the essence of our being, so that we can continue to move forward in a successful way and in a methodical way, and to ultimately remain an alcohol-free individual. So this element number 3, we systematically work on ourselves daily. This is where we focus on the process. Now, the other elements focus on different avenues of successful alcohol-free living, but this third element is where we focus on the process. Now, the results will come, But first, we must stay focused on our systems that we use and the models that we use to keep ourselves successful, to keep ourselves on the right path, and to keep ourselves on the right track. It's so important that we are relentless in our pursuit of becoming and remaining alcohol-free. And through systems and models, we can do this if we stay diligent. And as we go through this process, be cognizant about the incremental improvements that you make through using systems and models. It's really important to take note in the incremental changes. And I've talked about this in videos before. Nothing is going to happen overnight. It's so important that as we take these tiny little incremental steps, these tiny little baby steps forward, that we're constantly on this trajectory of improvement. And that's what these systems and models are all about. It's about keeping us on the right track and focusing, laser focusing on the processes that we use so we don't get caught off guard, we don't get off track, we don't get derailed, we don't get in a situation where our cravings can overtake us and we end up making a mistake or using alcohol or getting off track and doing something that we regret later. So these systems and models that we use keep us in check. It's our complete framework. And the beauty about the systems and models that we ultimately use to become alcohol-free actually just shape our life up in so many other beneficial ways, affecting our body, our mind, and our soul, our physicality, our relationships, our finances, and then just kind of everything seems to trickle down in a positive way once we have these systems and models in place and are focused on them, and they are a part of our daily routine each and every day, 7 days a week. So be mindful that this takes time. Be patient, be aware, and be cognizant. The results will compound quickly, and as time goes on, you'll be able to notice and observe those results, some of them small, some of them large. We can initially use the Beautiful Savage method as the overall framework for our alcohol-free lifestyle. But what are some other systems that we could apply to our day, to our week, to our month, and to our routine that would assist us in staying on our track to becoming an alcohol-free individual and to help us in becoming successful in our alcohol-free lifestyle? So let's take a look at what some of those things might be, how they could look in our life, and then how we could apply them to our routine throughout the day. So when I first became alcohol-free, it was initially kind of a daunting thing because, as I've spoken about in previous episodes, I've tried so many different methods and ways to go about quitting drinking, and over time, none of them really stuck. At times they would kind of work on and off, but none of them really fully stuck with me until I created the Beautiful Savage method that has been really beneficial and just a complete game changer and life changer for me, and has benefited me in so many ways. But as I walk this path, and when I really buckled down and decided for myself that no longer am I going to try to control it or maintain it, I'm not going to try to not drink during the week and have days on the weekends, when I really decided that I have to completely put it behind me, that it was no longer serving me and something that I wanted to completely move away from, I initially was at a place where it seemed like I had a mountain to climb. And I know that you might be there too. It's hard quitting at the very beginning if you don't have systems and models to live by, if you don't have a methodology to pursue. And that's ultimately what I'm here to do, is share the methodology that I created, because I think if you at least maybe just try to pursue it or give it some time, that it might work for you the way that it worked for me. But when I first started, I was in a lot of rumination and You know, rumination is when you're constantly spinning thoughts in your head and you can't seem to move away from them. I know it seems like a lot of people seem to ruminate a lot at night when they try to go to sleep. A lot of the times when you can't sleep, it's because you've got a hamster wheel of thoughts going in your head or in your mind. And rumination was something that I think a lot of people that have addictive personalities or an addictive personality style deal with, because we seem to get focused on things and think about things in a real kind of heavy way. And from the discussion that I've had with a lot of people who have drank, whether they consider themselves to be an alcoholic, which I'm kind of have some issues with that term in a way. I can talk about that later. Or, you know, they just drank a little bit, but realize that alcohol doesn't serve them and they want to move beyond it too, is that a lot of people seem to ruminate on alcohol and think about it, you know, like even if they have a happy hour planned with friends where they know that they're going to be drinking, or if they're heavier in addiction with alcohol, they constantly have the rumination of cravings in their mind. So when I quit drinking, I was ruminating on all sorts of things. It wasn't really just alcohol. It was a lot of things in my life when I was reflecting and realizing that for me to level up to where I wanted to be, and like I've mentioned as well, for me to step into that person that I knew I was capable of and my maximum potential, I needed to make some really big changes in my life. And that's what this episode is about. It's about focusing on the process of those changes and how you can become successful in this endeavor and become an alcohol-free individual. And one thing that I decided for myself when I chose to quit drinking was that as an athletic person and as a nature lover, that I was going to go for walks. And it sounds like such a simple thing. And that's one thing that I want to impress upon you guys, is that when you are standing at the bottom of a mountain and you're looking up at what you have to tackle to get through this, which is to become alcohol free, it will seem like a lot. It will seem like you're about to take your first step into summiting Mount Everest. But if you just break it down into little systems and little models that work for you, and if you use the beautiful Savage method, if you use the 4 elements and then couple that with other systems and models, and that's what I want to talk to you about today, is how you can add some elements of your own to your alcohol-free process and make it personalized to you and make it a plan for yourself that you can get excited about, that you can achieve, and at the end of the day, you can use to become successful in your alcohol-free living. And like I mentioned, for me, it sounds like a small thing, but going for walks was so important. It did a lot of things for me. It got me outside, it got sun on my face, which is really good for your energy and for your well-being. I got to feel the breeze, and where I walk in Fort Worth on this trail, I would get to see some nature and some wildlife, be around trees and see blue herons and some things like that. So I knew that, and then just being active. I mean, I knew just going for a walk and getting off the couch or getting out of that cycle of rumination was going to be really important for me. So when I first quit drinking, I was going on a lot of walks. I mean, I was out there walking, and I really got focused on, if I felt like I was slipping into any sort of like negativity or depression with it, I knew to get my tail up off the seat and get out there on the trail. And every single time, as soon as I got out there and started walking, I felt better. As soon as I would hear the birds chirping or felt the sun on my skin, I felt better. And then at the end of the walk, I was tired and energized from the walk, but I also kind of noticed that my desire shift a little bit because I also shifted my priorities. And instead of going to a happy hour, or instead of getting off work and going to meet friends for drinks, or getting involved in that alcohol lifestyle, I started making little systematic changes that got me off of that track and on a better track. And that track was living alcohol-free and becoming an alcohol-free individual. And I couldn't be more proud of where I am today. And it's really interesting to kind of think that that was like my first real personal systematic change for me, was that instead of doing those typical things that a typical drinker does, I was spending more time outside, more time in nature, more time on the trail. And then oddly enough, I end up looking better, you lose some weight, you feel better. Just doing an activity like that brings a lot of internal joy and happiness. So the really amazing thing about the Beautiful Savage method and some of these concepts that I'm sharing is even beyond alcohol, which has been such a blessing in my life too, is that so many of these things have kept me clean from drinking and kept me in check, but they've also improved my life in so many other ways. And it's just been a real joy walking this path. And then also kind of looking back and comparing and contrasting how my life was before and where it is now, it almost just seems like I'm a completely different person. And my encouragement to you is that as you create these systems and models for yourself, that you compare and contrast and you make those personal observations of all the growth that you're going to be making as you pursue an alcohol-free lifestyle that's outside of alcohol, that just makes you a better all-around person. And I can't wait to hear about those stories. It makes me so happy to know that there are people out there that are interested in living this lifestyle and are interested in seeing what they are capable of and what you can achieve without alcohol and without such a harsh and harmful substance that does not serve you on any level. Another thing that I ended up doing is I ended up spending a whole lot of time in the gym. And that was a time that was really important for me too. It's something that I've stayed very consistent with. And like I've mentioned in some of my other episodes about discipline, the way that I look at the gym is it's really not just like gym time where I'm going for my physical body, but it's where I go to practice discipline. When I'm ready to go to the gym, it's not really like I think about, hey, it's time for me to hit the gym. It's almost more like, hey, it's discipline time. It's time to go do that thing that I do that keeps my discipline in check. And having some things in your life that you're really focused on that are just for you and just for your health and just for your internal well-being will create a disciplined person because you're practicing disciplined behaviors. I also, used to race bikes in my 20s, and I've always cycled, but I ended up pursuing cycling more again and started riding again, which that's just always been something that I've loved ever since I was a kid. So anytime I'm on my bicycle is a happy time for me. I started making healthier dinners at home and really kind of got my diet dialed in, because if your body's not in check and your mind's not in check, then we've got to really kind of dial those things in too to kind of achieve your highest potential as well. So there's all sorts of things that you can kind of sit back and look at, like, hey, what are some things that I could change in my life? What are some little pivots that I could make that would put me on a better path? So one thing that I would encourage you to do is make a list of actions. In your list, what are some strategic choices that you could add to your daily routine? Be strategic about it. It's really important that you have your goal in mind, which is to become an alcohol-free individual. So be strong and courageous about the strategy that you use, about things that you have to cut out. Now, the reality is you may have to cut out some relationships. You may have to cut out some places that you go. You may have to cut out some things that were priorities to you, but this is part of a new beginning. This is part of growing into your highest self and becoming the best version of what you are and who you are and how you can achieve that. So really be strategic as you make this list. Really put some thought into this. Think about your moral code and about some things that you can change to help you level up. So search your heart. And what are some actionable choices that you can make that will serve you better? So what are some things that you could put in action? Just some little changes that you could make. So just like my cycling or going to the gym or playing good music and making a good dinner, and of course going on walks, create a few systems for yourself that you can add to the Beautiful Savage method that will serve you in the long run. And one reason that it was really important to me to make the Beautiful Savage method and the methodology that I use to become alcohol-free just 4 elements is because I wanted those 4 pillars to be so interactive with each other and couple well with each other. Some of them are really focused on systems, some are really focused on discipline, some are kind of focused on the beautiful side of quitting drinking, while others are focused on the real hard work that you have to do. But it also leaves a lot of room for personal growth. And I knew that that was so important in an alcohol-free lifestyle pursuit, is that we all need community. We all need to know that we're not alone in this process, and we all need systems and models to use. Another thing that was important to me when I quit drinking was I listened to a lot of people's stories just like myself, and I kind of took little bits and bobs from each person or people that I thought were impactful to me, and I kind of thought about what they were doing to help them, and then I would listen to somebody else and think about what they were doing, and I ultimately realized that it's more kind of like a simple pursuit of your methodology that I think kind of makes it where it's top of your mind. You can create a real framework around it. But then I also realized that for each individual, you know, as I would hear other people share their stories, I realized that for each individual, you know, our own pursuit, our own traumas, our own hurts and pains and anxiety and depression, it's all so personally unique to us. So while I gave you the example of going for a walk in nature, that's something that was completely beneficial to me. And I mean, I was out there walking like every day because I was really at the very beginning of my alcohol-free journey. So I really wanted something to take the place of me at a bar, me at happy hour, me with friends, or whatever the case is. I needed to shift my priorities. But for you, going on a walk may not be ideal at all. You may be listening to this in Alaska. I'm in Texas right now. It's 99 degrees outside, and I wouldn't even want to go for a walk. I did cycle this morning, though, actually, so got the work done. I always do. But you know what I'm saying. So whatever it is for you that can shift your priorities in a healthy way away from alcohol and keep you on track as well. So really give this some time and some mental energy. Look within and speak to yourself. Ask your spirit which way you should be going and what you should be doing. You will always find what you need to know if you take the time to look within. And I say time importantly because that is the crucial element to finding the answers that we seek. You need to take some time and quiet to listen to your inner voice. And those answers that you seek, they are in there. And that's why you're here right now. That's why you're listening, because you know the direction to go. You know what to do. And just like me, you need a little guidance on how to get there and a community to work within so that you have help and assistance in the process. And I think all of us that walk this path have many people that we look to for our community, for our help, and for our assistance. And like I say so many times, together we're stronger, and I truly believe in that. So take some time, quiet things down, look within, and see if you can find those answers that you're seeking. Remember throughout this process to believe in yourself. Before anything can happen, you have to believe in yourself. Let this mindset of believing in yourself become part of the system. Believe deeply in yourself to say no to alcohol, and know internally that you have the strength to rise above it, that you no longer need it, and that it doesn't serve you in any way. Trust the process and trust yourself. Do not stray from your system. Our systems keep us in check, keep us on our trajectory, keep us safe, and protect our boundaries. And once you get in the groove of the framework that you've created for yourself and the models and systems that you're living by, you'll be able to keep the momentum going. It's kind of like muscle memory, and once you find your little groove there, you'll get in this trajectory where it's almost like hard to veer off of it, and that's where we want to get you to, where it's just part of your daily routine. It's just part of what you do. And it's a really beautiful place when you get there, and that mountain doesn't look that tall once you start getting and finding your footing. Be relentless and never look away from your goal. And this is a very important part. Track and observe your improvements. Celebrate your successes. And it's a wonderful thing as you see the changes in your body, in your mind, in your thinking, in your outlook, in your perception, in your spirit. This is the reward for your hard work. And remember throughout this, all you're looking for is daily incremental improvements. Again, none of this is going to happen overnight. If you try to bite off more than you can chew, you may end up in a situation like I found myself in, where I would slingshot back to almost even harder drinking or more reckless drinking. So focus on your improvements and celebrate those wonderful changes that you see in your life. One system that you can use to help you celebrate your successes is, once you hit little milestones, have a little celebration for yourself, whether that's taking yourself out for dinner, maybe planning a little road trip, going to a concert with a friend, whatever you find important. But I do think that that's an important thing to do. I used to do it a lot, as I would hit 3 months, I would take myself on a surf trip, because to me 3 months was a big deal. And when I hit 6 months or 9 months, or even for the first, couple months, is almost like every time I, past another week of alcohol-free living, there was something internally that I would want to celebrate it, because this really is a path that you take alone. You may have some people that help you along the way and encourage you, and that's a beautiful thing. But for most of us, living an alcohol-free lifestyle and becoming alcohol-free is a very, very personal and unique pursuit. So make your systems and models personal and unique as well. It's so important to remember that until you are good for yourself, you can't possibly be good for someone else. So like I said, give yourself the time, quiet things down, look within, make your list of additional things that you can add to the Beautiful Savage method, some additional systems and models that will help you along the way. And be proud of yourself as you go down this path. This is not easy, and most people will never be able to achieve what we are here to accomplish. Lean into your new alcohol-free lifestyle and enjoy the journey. Don't look at it as this hard thing, or like you've got to rip yourself away from this life that you used to have. Look at not what you're losing, but what you are gaining. And that is truly what this is all about. There is so much magic in this journey, and I truly respect and honor you for making this choice. Always remember that you are not alone. We are many, and together we are stronger. So create your systems, create your models, create your framework. Use the Beautiful Savage method as your structure, and then add as many additional things that you need to add, as many additional systems that you can apply to your life to keep you on the right track. And in no time, you will become a brave and untouchable person. And this is what being a beautiful savage is all about. So thank you for joining me today as we took a little deeper dive into the third element of the Beautiful Savage method. And if you know someone out there that could benefit from this message, please share with them. Collectively, we can be the light that help others find their way. And if you haven't taken a moment to join the community and subscribe, I would appreciate it if you did. I look forward to growing with you, and I'll see you next time.